Hi everybody, my name is Josh Shelton. I'm the author of the I Am Adventure Books children's book series. It is a passion project of mine that's probably been in the making since I could draw and write. I didn't know it until about 5 or 6 years ago when my close friend from childhood, Sam, came back into my life, popped back in, hadn't seen him in a very long time, and I was just going over I've always written poetry, and he's a wonderful, amazing artist of all mediums, and we reconnected, and we're just talking about our kids and the world that they have to grow up in, the beauty of the world, and also the challenges of the world, and the troubles on the planet, and how hard it was for us to grow up. And just the desire to try to at least be able to look at my kids and be like, hey, Dad tried to make a difference, tried to make change. And there's just so many components to it. A deep desire to help the children, the parents, even seeing a lot of the issues in the school systems, like just content. It's just, there's a lot of, you could perceive them as uphill battles. And so it just kind of an idea whose time had come for us. I was like, wow, I have a plethora. I mean, writing always came very easy for me. And I always wrote in poetic form poems, because words always failed to me. Like just speaking, I was like always trying to get to the concept. And I think art, whether it be poetry or any form of art, it kind of opens up the door, portal for the reader, the person experiencing the art, to get the message within the words. So it's almost like probably about a 24-hour period where I was like, a lot of the stuff comes through in download form as well. I said all these, these poems, they're more like, they're songs. Some of them I did a lot of songwriting. Music was a big part of my growing up too. And Sam would come up and he'd just, he'd be painting or drawing, and I just said, hey, we should make some conscious children's books. And then he just, it was kind of like an eye contact moment, and it's like already all here. And then you could just, it was like an activation. I'm getting chills right now, even kind of sharing it. And I had a ton of stuff written already, and there was a couple I was really drawn to. And I had my kids read a lot of my transcripts or poems and get their feedback, and then it just started. I think we started in 2017 with the first book in the series, Hey Tree, What Should I Be? Which there ended up being 4 total in the series, and they all have their own core messages, but there's many messages within it, and it's kind of like a little mini hero's journey, if you're familiar with that, kind of compressed into a children's book series. It's kind of a follow your heart message at its core, but the creative process was so fulfilling. We'd almost grit it out like a comic book and go back and forth, and it'd be like almost like a fire, just ideas, and we probably illustrated these books 3 times a piece by the time we get to the final product. But and one thing just led to another. It was fun, and it felt very powerful. It felt very, it felt like it was just a knowing. It was almost like a memory. It almost felt like a memory. Like, okay, yeah, this is clearly not something we're just kind of maybe doing. It's like, it's part of why we're here to do it. And the 4th book, which we're working on now, not to skip ahead, but I Am Dropping the Ocean, is it is the most special one to me. It came to me, I woke from a dead sleep. It was right, I know it was like just after 2, because I can very much remember seeing 2 o'clock on the clock. And I went outside. I was living in Forest Ranch at the time, and it was snowing. And I just kind of got lost in just watching the snow at night. And I sat down on the couch, and literally like a flood, and 15 minutes later, it's the one and only transcript that there is no editing needed. And when I read it back after I wrote it, it was like reading something someone else wrote for the first time. And Sam wanted to do that one right away. So that was another unique kind of a fun thing. Which one would we do? Because that one really, it's kind of the culmination of the 4 books we chose for this I Am Adventure book series, because there's a very specific kind of a path through them that leads children and adults alike through just some of the timeless questions we face and some of the challenges we face. And you know, it brings a lot of curiosity and wonder and light into what could be, you know, some not so ideal situations. So ultimately, after like small deliberation, we started with Hate Free, What Should I Be? Basically because that's what both of my wonderful children said. Obviously you have to start with that one, and you know, it didn't take you long afterward. Yeah, it's like the beginning. It's kind of like you follow our main character and his friends. Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And so this one is definitely special because it is kind of like the foundation of this series, and you know, it starts at the beginning of your young life experience. And then it was pretty natural after we completed this one in 2018. In this book alone, we did some assemblies here in Chico. We got into some classrooms and just engaging and seeing the smiles in the children's faces and just feeling the ripples, and you know, running into some people out there that, hey, I saw your book, my kid loves that book, and just, I don't even need to know about all the ripples they make, but that's what it's all about for me, is to make a difference and make change. So that was really awesome, and it gave us a lot of motivation and drive, and pretty much launched right into the second book of the series, Imagine a World, which, you know, there's a lot in that title. It's a power of thought book, that your thoughts create reality, both on an individual and a collective level. And it's a very imaginative journey where you create through imagination. So, you know, kind of like foundational and like big expansion. This book was, the art in this book, Sam took it to another level. These were actually, the first two books were done with Sharpie pens. So after that one, we finished that book and it was all full steam ahead. And then the world kind of went a little mad, 2019. I think we all remember that. And everything kind of hit the brakes, and we just we idled, and we started working on the third book in our series, which was quite suiting for that period of time we all went through. And Just Be, which this message alone, I think, especially nowadays with what we're up against, in the ability to just enjoy something or the present moment, or to just, you know, there's this just chase for the next great thing. So this book was really fun, and gotten great feedback from educators and parents on this one, you know, early and often. It's like, yeah, I guess this is for my kids, but I think maybe it's myself that needed the message. We've heard that plenty. So this one's just basically about being present in the moment, but it is very fun. The characters in this book, I think you probably see them in the tree behind me. Little Dee Dee the hamster and Bula the bulldog. The hamster represents throughout the book in his wheel the racing mind of our main character, and Bula is the heart-centered bulldog. And so it's a really fun adventure, magically illustrated, about our young character finding very creative, fun ways to find time to just be in the moment. So the fourth one, which the cover is probably likely to change, but I am the drop in the ocean, again, which I started talking about originally. And again, it is my favorite. It's the final one. It's a dreamtime journey about the same main character, you know, falling asleep with his little friends, and he becomes a drop of rain making its way back to the sea, which is kind of a parallel of our lives as people. It's just a real human experience type of message about how, you know, we're all drops of rain making our way back to the sea. And the art concepts for this we're just beginning to get into, and it is extremely exciting, and we definitely plan to capture some of that and share with you guys. The inspiration comes from many levels. Some of it I probably can't put my finger on. It comes from realms I probably can't even explain. Like I was explaining earlier, some of these stories, specifically I'm the Drop in the Ocean, was like almost like it was the delivery, like, you know, FedEx into my head or something. But to stay here on planet Earth, which is where we are and where we're making change from, where we're creating from, my inspiration is the children. If I had to pick one thing, it's the children, and to help them Again, like I said earlier, watching my youngsters grow up, and obviously, like any parent, or maybe not any parent, but hopefully most parents, just have a desire for their kids to be at peace for one, happy for one, just to be okay. And that's just underneath your own roof, I know, but then when you see out in the world, they have a lot stacked against them, but they also have a lot going for them. So, it's the children is the number one motivation. The creative process is very much co-creative, is poetry and concepts and being open and getting them down and refining that. And then Sam and I sitting together, and at a core, it was very fun. I was looking through some of the old stuff, all these books. It's like we grid it out like a comic book and put the phrases there. And sometimes it'll start with just writing concepts, and Sam has a way of basically taking sometimes before I say it, his hands manifesting it on the paper. But if not, I like this for this scene, and it's just, like, oh yeah, he just drew that, just like that. He's got a little manifester in his fingers. And so the creative process is so fulfilling. It's just honoring the process of creation, whatever that may be. Do I wish I had these books as a child? For sure. That's probably a large reason why they exist right now, maybe. And what these books are is a result of my answering the questions I developed that were not answerable, or that took a lot of wisdom and trials and some level of suffering and level of victory, and it's kind of a culmination. Yes, I do wish I had these books when I was a child, and that is probably, for the first time, I'm realizing a large part of why they're here. So the inspiration for the characters and the names, we just recently gave the characters names in the third book. We left the main character nameless, and that was, for the most part by design, because it's whoever's reading the book, that's their name. There's always a little butterfly that flutters through the books who remains nameless, but the main character's friends, Dee Dee the hamster and Bula the bulldog. Bula the bulldog is obviously, bulldogs have been in my life for better or worse since I was this big. So we'd dress him up when we were younger, and we'd chase him around, and just little house pigs. So my dad has always had bulldogs, and they were always just kind of there chilling, and they were actually the perfect manifestation of just being. So it was very obvious, like that's the perfect example to use. And my son wanted a hamster so badly, I don't know, years back, and he named it Dee Dee the hamster, and he was just I don't think I ever saw him not moving, and just be Dee Dee the hamster is a representation of the running thoughts in our main character's brain and experience. And so yeah, that's pretty much how those characters got their names. The characters in the books are the readers of the books, whoever that is. Yeah, these books are super important to me, myself and Sam, because they're like, it's our offering. They're like seeds of our heart that it's just that we're driven to put out there. It's part of our purpose. And when you see the result of them, when you see them in kids' hands, and you can start to kind of feel the ripple come back to you, it's about making change. In the co-creative process too, to engage with someone like Sam, anyone that's in art, it's a powerful thing to create. And when you can catch a wavelength with somebody, and it just keeps notching up, I know I'm assisting the children of our planet, the parents of the children of our planet, the people trying to teach in this paradigm that we're in. It's just, I'm not to try to limit the reasons it's important is impossible. It's part of what we're here to do.